Hi everyone, I'm Allie with the Potomac Bead Company, and I'm going to show you how to make these cute little cubes today. You can make them out of anything really. I'm using some 3mm Czech glass today, and I've used 4 on these silver ones. So in addition to my beads, like again, I said you can do them with 3s, 4s, 6s, 5s, it doesn't really matter. Bicones, rounds, you could even do them with rondelles actually. In addition to my 12 beads that I'm using, I am using 2 size 10 English beading needles, as well as just a foot of beading thread. The needles are connected to each end of that foot of beading thread. In addition to that, I have my thread burner. I use the Thread Zap 2, and I've used that to take the thread off of my spool. And the thread that I've chose to use is 0.006 wildfire beading thread. You can also use illusion cord for this so you don't see any thread at all. Supple Max would be a nice brand to use for that. It's nice and thin. Or you can use a 0.008 thread as well. Normally I would use green thread since I'm using greenish blue beads, but I'm going to do the white just so you can see it a little bit more. Again, I'm using a right angle weave, but to make it easier and simpler, I'm actually using 2 needles. So I'm going to do actually a crisscross pattern rather than an actual right angle weave. But you can do the same pattern with just 1 needle. So the first thing I'm going to do is take one of my beads, drop it down to the middle of my thread. The needle that's on the right hand side, I'm going to pick up a bead on my right needle. I'm also going to pick up a bead on my left needle. I'm going to let them drop down next to my first bead that's there. I'm going to pick up a bead with my right needle, and that same bead, after I take it through the right needle, I'm going to take my left needle and crisscross through it so that one needle is going from right to left and this needle is going left to right. I'm going to pull down, make sure that your little loop here that you've made is still in the middle of your thread. And I'm going to continue this pattern 2 more times. I have a bead on the right, a bead on the left. Let those drop down next to my last little square. Pick up another bead on my right needle. Go from right to left, and then left to right. So both needles are going through the same bead. Pull tight, and that gets me another little group of 4. Again, bead goes on the right, and drops down next to my beads. Bead goes on the left, and then a third bead is going to go on to my right needle, and I'm going to crisscross to the left. Pull tight, and that's going to get me my start of my box. The last thing I'm going to do to complete my box is 1 bead is going to go on my right needle, another bead is going to go on to the left needle, and then instead of adding a third bead that I crisscross through, you can see this kind of wants to bend already, I'm going to grab on to the first original bead that I put on. So this first bead here at the bottom, my needle that's on the right is going to go through from right to left. The needle that's on the left is going to go through from left to right. So I'm going to pull this one through, take my left needle, go through towards the right hand side, and then I'm going to pull nice and tight to get my little box formation. So I have my little box now, and we could make this longer if we wanted to and make it a little bit off shape, so I could have done 5 rows and it won't be quite box-like. But to finish it off, I have my threads here coming out of that last box. What I'm going to do is actually turn my little cube to the side, and I'm going to stitch along these 4 beads here on the outer side. And I'm going to stitch those with my right needle, and I'm going to stitch through all 4 beads that are here on the side. And what that's doing is it's making it reinforced on the side a little bit. And then my needle is going to come out in the original place that it started at. I'm going to switch my box over here to the other side and tighten this up by going around this side. So I went around the one side, now I'm going to go around the other side of my box. And this is just a single row of the right angle weave. You can also make bigger boxes that are double rows. I'm going to create some new videos doing that as well so you can see. And I'm just sewing along the whole way. When my beads are coming out close to the same place in the opposite direction, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew through that last bead again. And now that my thread and my needle are coming out right about the same place, I'm going to take my needle off there, and I'm just going to tie it on and pull nice and tight. And what that's going to do is make my cube nice and tight. And that's going to tighten it all up. I tie a right over left knot and then a left over right. Pull nice and tight. I'm going to go in with my thread burner here. Hold the ends of my thread. Press down on my thread burner. Little button there. It's going to heat up these coils here next to my nail. And I'm going to pull some tension on the thread. And I'm going to burn right through. Set my extra thread to the side. Then I pick up my burner again and I burn those edges down a little bit. If you're a gluer, you can also glue them down. It's up to you. And then I have my little boxes. So I can put them on a pair of earrings if I want, just as simple. I could put them on head pins. I could add them to beads and make little bracelets out of them and string them. So you can really play around with these boxes. They'll give a little bit dimension to your projects and just give a nice little added look that you can create something out of it. So hopefully you have fun making these. Again, they don't use much thread and you don't use many beads at all either. And you get a nice complicated look very, very simply. So hopefully you have some fun making these boxes. Check out our other YouTube videos to get other ideas, and also like us on Facebook. If you get a chance to stop by one of our stores, we would love to see you in one of our locations. And if you have any questions, make sure to let us know and we'd be happy to help. So thanks a lot for watching and happy beading.